The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hello. If you can hear me loud and clear, would you let me know in the chat? That would be fantastic. Be getting started right at 3 o'clock here. We got another 5 minutes or so until we get started. Let's see. Ann, Bill Myers, Bradley Burnell, Brian Dunn, Chuck Shee, Daniel, Dave, lots of Daves on here, Diane, DJ, Dominic, Doug Page, Doug Schuler, Dwayne Baker. Good to see you, Dwayne, man. It's been a long time. Let's see, Ed Sayani. How are you? Gary Munson. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, let me know in the chat. What's up? Awesome. Cool. Yes, this will be recorded. I'll be emailing you guys out the recordings for this. All right, awesome. So we got about 4 minutes before we get started. We can talk about anything not related to Launchpad, not related to this immersion. So let's talk about something else before we dive deep. Thanksgiving, man. I was just in Ohio, just returned back to South Florida here last night. I went from it being I think 45 degrees outside to landing in Fort Lauderdale. I think it was 5:30, 6 o'clock last night, and it was 80 degrees. All right. Any info on the workshop in Fort Lauderdale? Yes, sir, Robert. What's the link to book a call with Ryan? It's let's see, Terry. It's web1.co/Ryan-consult. Just curious, how many of you guys have had a consult with Ryan since we kicked off the immersion, right? So in the last week and a half or so, how many of you guys, since you came on Launchpad or since we've kicked off the immersion, have had a consult with Ryan? Just give me a 1 in the chat. A lot of people, right? Ryan has been loaded to the gills. I hope you guys are enjoying that. Awesome, fantastic. Can you tell us a little about your background, Rob says. Yeah, Rob. So we got 2 more minutes here before we get started. So I started out kind of in the internet marketing space. I didn't really know how to break into it, right? I knew that there was obviously lots and lots of money to be made online. And so late or mid 2000s, I started taking web classes, like web design, web development type classes. Did that for a couple of months, got like a certificate, if you will, from this online school for that. And I wasn't really sure about 80% of the way through, is this really worth me finishing it, right? I'm almost there, but I was getting a little bored. So I I did a little test. I went out and I sold it. I sold 5 web design, web development clients in a matter of about a week and a half to 2 weeks, pulling on roughly $30,000 in revenue for a company I hadn't even set up yet. And that's how I kind of just stumbled into this world, did web design, web development for a long time, did a bunch of e-commerce type of stuff, SEO stuff, mostly client services related, and quickly found out that it paid the bills, right? But it sucked, right? It was good, don't get me wrong, but I knew that there had to be a better way. And it took me a very, very long time to figure out that quote unquote better way. And I've done everything from affiliate stuff to building e-com stores to just about every model out there. And finally, if you will. I had my big payday or my big pay month, and I finally broke through. And that breakthrough was lead gen. Totally, I hate it. Let's see. Hey. Philip says Ryan blew off your call. Ryan or Philip, I'm sure he didn't. He waits during the scheduled time for you, and he'll try to call you if he can't get a hold of you. Typically, he'll leave you a message and let you know. But just reschedule with him, man. Can you say more about lead gen? Diane will talk a lot about lead gen today. All right, just another minute and we'll get this thing wrapped up. I'm going to grab a sip of water and we'll get this thing underway. All right, guys, let's get this thing underway. We are officially starting the first immersion webinar, and I'm excited. I'm excited because, guys, honestly, I haven't really done anything like this before, meaning I haven't let you guys kind of look over my shoulder as I'm doing stuff live. So it's going to be a little different. Bear with me, as these aren't polished presentations like I'm used to giving you, right? Usually I have slides and it's a little more polished, but understand that you guys are literally looking over my shoulder as I execute on things. And there are going to be mess ups, right? But we'll do our best to share with you guys our stumbling blocks and do our best to put these into execution maps that you guys can all run with after we've figured out the kinks and after we've ran into the problems and we've solved them ourselves, right? And I hope you guys appreciate that. Many times we've released courses over the last couple of years and done stuff and showed you guys how to do it, but never in a live environment like this where you guys are literally watching over our shoulders. Okay? So a little bit of house cleaning before we get into immersion number 1 and immersion number 2. We had a lot of people, after we gave them the first checklist, the first execution map, if you will, ask for access to the Google Doc that we sent out. Okay, you guys don't need quote unquote access to the Google Doc. You can make a copy of the Google Doc, all right? Let's see, Naomi says over the shoulder is priceless. So to make a copy, all that you do in Google Docs is go to File and make a copy, and it'll save it to your Google Docs. And you guys can go in, you guys can edit it as you guys want, right? So let me just show you that real quick. So for example, this is what I sent you guys, this immersion checklist number 1, getting started. Okay, if you guys want to make a copy of this, you're going to go up to File and then make a copy, all right? So File and then make a copy, okay? And I see a bunch of you guys on the call are on this document right now, okay? File, make a copy, all right? So no need to request access, just go to File, make a copy, all right? And you guys can modify this, you guys can add in details, take things away that you guys don't want, whatever, all right? Somebody says, Diane says, I didn't get this email. I'll give it to you in just a second, Diane, again, okay? So real quick, little poll from everybody on the call. We got about 161, 162 people on. How many of you are done with checklist number 1? If you guys would just give me a number 1. Let's see, 111, done with checklist 1, done. Awesome. We got a lot of people on the call that are done. Okay, give me a 2 if you started it and you ran into some type of snag. Okay, it wasn't that you were too busy, but you ran into a snag. There was a problem. Okay, if there was a problem, give me a number 2. You ran into a problem. Okay, we got quite a few 2s. Okay, so can you guys give me some feedback right now on the snags that you guys ran into? Okay, I want to make sure that the documentation is as good as possible for you guys. Daniel said there's no instructions on how to upload the theme. Daniel, we were using the clone, so you don't need to upload the theme, right? You go into Launchpad after you put in your cPanel instructions, and you use the clone cPanel feature. Yes, this will be recorded, Bob. Okay, no snags. Let's see. Okay. Okay, hooking up DNS. So Greg, we added a bunch of videos to that execution doc all about DNS. Let me know if that helped you out or not, or if there was another issue. So Jerome said he successfully cloned, but he couldn't log in. Just click the one-click login, Jerome. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, awesome, guys. So I'll make sure that we go through these comments of any issues that you guys ran into. Try to make sure that we can make this execution doc the best as we possibly can. Cool. So if you get stuck, again, I gave this link out earlier. It's in the chat. I'll put it in here again. But if you get stuck, guys, I want to give you a way to get unstuck, right? You can obviously submit a support ticket at web1support.com, or you can book a consult with Ryan. Okay, there's lots and lots of you guys that have already booked. Okay, if you get stuck, you can book a consult with Ryan, okay? Or obviously submit a ticket through our support desk. If you want a little more hands-on, get on with Ryan, all right? So we have officially got the dates and the workshop all set up and ready for you guys that we added as a bonus for each and every one of you, all right? So we're having a free execution workshop. So this will be after these immersion classes, right? After these webinars, and it will be going deep diving into all of this stuff and making sure that you guys literally have everything that you guys need. Okay, I would highly recommend that you guys make this event. All right. So it is in West Palm Beach. It is at the Hyatt Place. And the Hyatt Place is where we hold our masterminds here in West Palm Beach for our mastermind group. So it is Thursday and Friday, January 21st and January 22nd. Okay, and I will put the link in the chat for you guys, web1.co/January. Make sure I'm spelling this correctly. I don't mess up. Workshop. So obviously this was a bonus for you guys. There is a $99 deposit to hold your spot. I say that the event is free because once you show up, we refund your deposit, right? Once you check in, we refund your deposit. If you go check out this link, you will see a boatload of testimonials and video testimonials from people that have been at our masterminds and in-person events. All right. So 99 bucks to hold your spot. Okay. The great thing, guys, is that this is going to be very intimate. Okay. It's not going to be huge with hundreds and hundreds of people at the event. Okay. West Palm Beach, Florida, January 21st and 22nd. Okay. At the Hyatt, we can only accommodate 40 people. Okay. This isn't some scarcity bullshit. This is real, right? We can only accommodate 40 people. And there are right now, as of this morning, 776 active Launchpad members. Okay? 776. All right? So I'm assuming that this is probably going to go pretty quick. We booked a deal for you guys with the hotel, got you guys a deal, $100 off per night, just over $100 a night off. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you hit us up about this event. Let's get this thing moving. Let's see. Somebody asked, Kurt says, are you going to have your regular mastermind attendees there or just us noobs? Well, that's funny, Kurt. So Kurt, a bunch of our mastermind crew, I'm sure, will be there as well. And the reason why, Kurt, is because they never got these execution maps. They're going to get them just like you. In our mastermind, it's set up to be very different, right? It's problem and solution based. It's based upon what the people in the mastermind are having problems with. Our masterminds don't run like this, where it's literally, here's the execution map, let's run through it. Any questions? Okay, next. Does that make sense? It's all mastermind based. It's what questions does everybody have, and then how's the group overcoming them? All right. So immersion checklist number 1, I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I'm going to share with you guys exactly where I got with this checklist. I got about 90% of the way through, and I'm going to put this link in the chat for you guys. if I could spell right. That link doesn't work, just a heads up. I had 2 P's in the URL. All right. So this is the portion that will be over my shoulder. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did, what domains I got, and everything. So I just made a copy of the first checklist and started in green putting my notes. All right. So I'm going to make this bigger, and we're just going to go through this as a group together. And if you have any questions, I'm going to try to answer them while we go through this. All right. So step 1 is adding your existing WordPress sites into Launchpad, all right? And there's instructions for this, right? I already have a Launchpad account with all of my sites in it. Okay, we actually have 2 Launchpad accounts. I have one for all of our courses and software and everything like that you guys see. And then I have another one for all of my lead gen accounts, just so I can keep things separate and somewhat organized, because we have a lot of domains. To keep things very, very simple for the immersion, I created a new Launchpad account just for the immersion. So you guys will see in my Launchpad account right now, I have 4 domains. So I didn't do just one like you guys did. I did 4. I'm going to show you guys how to do a 5th one here as well. So cool. So step 2 is setting up your hosting accounts. Give me a 2 if you guys set up your hosting accounts. Let's see. Helen says, are those the only hosting accounts that will work? Helen, these are the only ones that we officially support. The problem is we'd rather be focusing on new features for you guys versus working on new cPanel integrations. So most other types of accounts, other cPanel accounts will work. We just don't support them, right? Because we want to make sure that we're adding new features for you guys. I hope that makes sense. 2222, awesome, fantastic. So we had a couple questions right away on why we recommend setting up accounts on all of these. And the short answer is right here, right? We install all of our lead gen sites, or set up all of our lead gen sites in a like round robin type of fashion. Okay, so money site number 1, for example, would go on A2. The second one, I don't know why that formatting's weird, would go on HostGator. The third one on Bluehost, 4th one on HostMonster, 5th one on GoDaddy, and then we'd start back over, right? So 6th one on A2, 7th one on HostGator, 8th one on Bluehost, 9th on HostMonster, and 10th on GoDaddy, right? So we're minimizing the sites that we're using, or the hosting accounts that we're using, right? Kind of pushing things out. Cool? Does that make sense to everybody? Why we suggest signing up for an account on all 5 of these. Okay, the reason that we suggest that versus just one is if you put all your sites on an A2 hosting account, what's your guys' name servers look like and the IP addresses that you guys are using? They're all duplicates. They all have some type of footprint, right? We just want to minimize our footprint. You will never, ever, ever have no footprint. Understand that, okay? This gives us an economical way to minimize our footprint very, very well and not have a boatload of accounts to log into, okay? And these are all cheap. These are all anywhere from $5 to $8 a month, okay? And like our A2 hosting account, one of them that we have right now has like 15 sites on it, and it's like $8 a month, right? So it's a half a dollar, 50 cents, right, per site, okay? So go sign up on each of these hostings, and you're going to want to plug them into Launchpad. Okay, and here are the instructions on how to add them. Okay, and there's step-by-step instructions for each of them. Okay, so you're going to go to over here to your, over here to Manage cPanel, and you guys will see my accounts in here. You would click Add New cPanel, and you'll just follow these instructions. Note, when you select your hosting company, it'll give you the instructions as well, right? So if you're not a techie, don't worry, just follow the step-by-step instructions, okay? Give me a 1 if everybody's on the same page and we can keep moving. Good with hosting. Dan says, can you go to A2 and show us which hosting you buy? Yeah, so I put this inside, it should be inside the checklist. Here we go. So when you're picking out the different hosting account plans, what I recommend that you guys do is choose the plans that have the ability to add on multiple add-on domains. Okay, so for example, if I go to A2 hosting, I don't know why I did that, just click on this link. So if I go to A2 right here and we look at the plans here, we want to look for add-on domains, right? So unlimited domains. So I would either choose the Swift or the Turbo. Okay, if you're just getting started, you're under a budget constraint, just grab the Swift. Okay, if $4 a month isn't a big deal or $5 more, grab the Turbo. Okay. Okay, so for HostGator, I believe it's called like the hatch, or it's called the baby package, right? Okay, I actually did put them in here. Swift or Turbo, baby, plus on HostMonster, and on GoDaddy Deluxe or Ultimate. Okay, and again, the reason is because you guys can have multiple add-on domains. Again, we don't want to pay too much money for hosting, especially not with these little lead gen sites. Okay, they don't require a ton of bandwidth. You don't need to host them on Rackspace or S3. That would just be silly. Okay, be throwing money down the toilet. Okay. So next up, pick your niches and your cities. Obviously, we've already picked our niche. During this immersion, we're letting you guys look over our shoulders as we're building out the restoration niche. Okay, and we've obviously talked a lot about why the restoration niche. Okay, the average customer value is huge, conversion rates are nuts, and we don't have to sell a whole lot of leads to a local business owner in order to make a good amount of money, right? And it's not very competitive. Okay, so we've picked our niche. If you haven't picked your niche and you don't want to do restoration, I would highly suggest not reinventing the wheel. Go look in the marketplace of all the available done-for-you sites. Okay, if you haven't looked at this in a while and you've been a Launchpad member for a long time, we have added a boatload of done-for-you sites in here. Okay, don't reinvent the wheel unless you have to. All right. So we're doing restoration, and we are choosing these 5 cities to go after. So St. Petersburg, Orlando, Jacksonville, Sarasota, and Tampa. So just a couple of things here to note. These are kind of the criteria of things that we look at or that we consider when we're picking cities. Okay, so number 1, the main city, the target city, the city that we're going to put in our domain should have over 100,000 people. Okay, that doesn't mean that we're not going to go after the surrounding cities, but that domain needs to have at least 100,000 people. Okay, the city that we're going after in the domain. Okay, and what I use is just this Wikipedia link. There's lots of other ways that you guys can obviously look this up if you just look at Google. But this is just a list of United States cities by population. Okay, and if you're not in the US, you guys can still do lead gen in the US. It doesn't matter where the hell you are. All right. So the other rule of thumb is that I don't like to go after cities with over 1 million in population. Okay, I go after cities again with under 1 million people. Okay, so what does that mean? It's about the top 10 mark, right? After the top 10 is where I think it's kind of fair game. Okay, if you look at not every niche, but if you look at a lot of the big niches, San Jose, Dallas, San Diego, New York City, LA, Chicago, a lot of the big niches in these huge cities, guys, these are going to be crazy, right? It's going to be nuts. It's going to be very, very, very hard to rank for in these huge ass cities. Okay, now I'm not saying that's not possible. Last I looked, we had a member, let's see if he's still ranked, for mobile dent repair, which is a pretty non-competitive niche, but in New York City. Right? So it's not impossible. You have to look at the niche competition as well. Okay, check this out. What is that? That's the local business theme. That's one of the done-for-you sites, right? So personally, guys, I would suggest staying out of the top 10. Okay, if the niche is really easy, maybe you do go in, but I would highly suggest, especially for those of you just starting, stay out of cities with population of over 1 million people. Okay, and then the last thing that I like to do when considering my niches is I like to look at Google Trends. All right, and Google Trends can let you guys know of seasonality. Okay, it can also tell you the top cities and states and areas that people are searching for keywords from. Okay, so for example, if I do water damage, just want to make sure that you guys know how to use Google Trends and what you're looking at in terms of the data. So first it's going to show you guys the interest over time. Okay, so in 2005, this was the interest, right? And in 2015, this was the interest. Okay, and I'm not looking at these specific numbers. For me, what I'm looking at is just what's the trend, right? I want to make sure that the trend isn't going through the floor, right? And that it's going up. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a 111. Somebody says that's worldwide though. I don't care, but if I want to, I can deep dive down further, right? I want to make sure that it's a niche that's not going away. Okay, so now I'm just in the US. If I want, I can even get down even further than just US, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, but if you go down here under regional interest, what you can see is the most popular areas that this was searched for. Okay, Nevada, Florida. I wonder, guys, why I'm going after Florida, right? And I'm doing water damage. Okay, Hawaii, Arizona, Utah, Delaware. If I click on one of these, I can see the top areas as well, and I can go to cities. So Kissimmee, Pembroke Pines, Miami Beach, St. Petersburg, Fort Lauderdale, Gainesville, Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Celebration. These are the hottest areas in Florida. Okay, so again, I use this to help me understand what cities I should go after. Okay, but I also look at just the interest over time to make sure that it's not flatlining, right? Or that it's not on a steep bell curve going down. Okay. Yes, John, I pick a domain with the main city in the URL. Okay. So for example, I do St. Petersburg Restoration Experts, Orlando Restoration Experts, Jacksonville, Sarasota, Tampa, etc. All right. So step number 4, which almost all of you guys made it through, is to purchase your domain names. Okay. And when we're buying the domains, we like to have the following in the URL. So first off, obviously the city. Then we like to have the main keyword or the niche. And then lastly, something for branding. Sorry about that. Something for branding. For example, pros, experts, etc. Okay. So for example, we used Site Manager for the restoration niche. We did city restoration experts, right? Orlando restoration experts, St. Petersburg, Jacksonville, Sarasota restoration experts. Okay. Little tip after you register your domain or while you are, I highly suggest you guys use the privatized DNS option. For those of you that don't know what that is, when somebody does a whois lookup or sees who owns the domain, they can't see it, right? It's hidden. Okay. So these are the domains that I got. Okay. And again, I did private whois on all of these. Okay. So if you guys want, copy and paste these down or use these in the future to look at as we go ahead and build these out and we start getting rankings for these. Is there a reason to hide it? Yes, I always hide it. Do you want your competition knowing that you own 33 restoration domains? Okay, do you want Google knowing that? Okay, if you have some bad competitors, trust me when I say it's not a good thing. Okay, just use private whois, all right? And if you guys are smart, usually I order through GoDaddy, and I'll go to Google first, and I'll just do something like GoDaddy coupons. And I misspelled that, but it doesn't matter. And I'll find whatever GoDaddy's deal is right now, right? 99-cent domain names. Okay, 85% off GoDaddy. Okay, and I'll look through the coupons and I will literally save 30, 40, 50% of my purchase just by using a couple coupons and taking 60 seconds to look it up. Okay, Rebecca says NameSilo always offers $8.99 domains, including private registration. Okay, so you guys can do that too. Okay, we use Namecheap primarily in GoDaddy, and the reason that we do is we just don't want to have dozens of places to log into our domains, right? We have almost all of our domains through one of those two companies. All right. So next up is step 5, posting new domain names to your host or pointing new domain names to your host. And this is where a lot of you guys got stuck at. So what I wanted to do was take a second and talk to you guys about this because a lot of people, again, got stuck here. So if you follow the instructions here, they will tell you how to do this. Okay, so let's say, let me just log into GoDaddy here, and I'm going to give you guys 2 examples before we move on. Where is that? So let's say I had a domain registered through GoDaddy and I was trying to set up the DNS to point to HostMonster. Here are the DNS links or the name server links, NS1 and NS2. So this should be name server 1, this should be name server 2. And I got this link in here, right? In this help area. So I'm logging into GoDaddy and I'll show you guys how we do this. If you guys ever have questions with this, you guys can always contact the hosting company too. They will help you with this, or even your domain registrar will help you with it as well. So let me just pull up an example domain here. All right, so here we go. So this is a domain 24-7 Restoration Pros. This is not something I'm using for this demonstration and immersion, but just a test domain or a demo domain for me to show you guys. So once you log into GoDaddy, you click on this domain. Right here is name servers. You're going to click manage, and you're going to click custom, and then you would click add name server. Okay, and it's just going to literally give you guys boxes here, and you copy and paste that info in. Right, so I would copy in ns1.hostmonster, and then I would copy in ns2. Right here. I'm obviously not going to click OK because I don't want it to save this, but I would just click OK, and then that's it. Okay, so it's not that hard. The confusing part can just be what are all the name servers and tracking them all down. And that's exactly why we gave you guys literally step-by-step each of these, how to find your name servers. Okay. Fiverr is good for that. I mean, I guess not really. I mean, this should take you 5 minutes. You guys should know what your DNS is for each of these. Okay, and if you look down below here, I went and grabbed my DNS for each of these, and I'll keep this in a file so I have this all the time. Okay, if I add a new domain and I put it on HostGator, here's my DNS. If I add another domain to Bluehost besides the St. Petersburg one, here's my name servers, right? So I have that ready to go all the time. Okay. All right, so I did this, obviously set my name servers, and I cloned all of my sites except for Tampa. I left Tampa open to clone so I could just walk you guys through the process. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick while everybody's here. So I'm going to go down to Clone cPanel. I'm going to click Add New Clone. I'm going to say Tampa Restoration. Click Next. I'm going to select my cPanel account. Okay, I'm going to say install on main domain. If you use a domain to register with, you're going to want to use this. Okay, if you're just adding another domain and you want to use an add-on domain, you'd put that here. Okay, and you just put in the URL. Okay, but when I registered this HostGator account, I registered it with this URL. Okay, and again, guys, if you're having technical difficulties with this stuff, if you just don't know how to do it, that's fine. Get in touch with us or get in touch with your host or your domain registrar, and they will help you with this, right? And then next, I'm just going to put in an admin password. And guys, excuse me for a little bit of privacy. I'm going to move this off my screen for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and put in my password here if I can find it. All right. All right, great. So then what I'm going to do is select my backup. And these backups, you guys can use your own backups, okay, by importing them under here, under import backups, or you guys automatically, this will bring in any of the done for you sites that you have from the marketplace, okay? So right here, I'm gonna choose restoration, okay? Then I'm gonna select my server configuration. Everybody should be using none for this. And then literally we let Launchpad go do its deal, right? So preparing content of the file, fetching your cPanel account, connecting, uploading your backup. After it's done uploading the backup, it'll upload the database, and then it'll finalize setting everything up, okay? How do you do multiple restoration accounts? That was just in what I named my cPanel accounts. So let me open another window here. But if you wanted to put out 5 sites like we're doing in this immersion session, you would just get your host set up, right? You'd set the DNS, okay? You'd add the cPanel accounts into Launchpad, okay? Then you go into clone cPanel and you would just set up each of them one at a time, right? And then after you're done, you guys will see all of them set up here. Cool. Do we always back up to cPanel? When you use clone cPanel, this is what you want to do. Yes, exactly. Okay, so just follow the execution map. Guys, I think we've done a pretty damn good job on the execution map so far, and that's why I asked for feedback at the beginning, all right? Let's see. Tom said, "Are you going to cover competition? Whether we should go into a particular city?" Tom, for the most part, you're going to be fine outside of the top 10 cities. Okay, but we will be going over competition analysis later in the immersion session. All right. All right. Awesome. So next up is find and replace. All right. So once I have the site cloned out and it's up, it's live. And by that, I mean you can go and you can see it, right? Whoop. Wrong link, sorry. What you guys are going to want to do is start doing a find and replace, right? This still says Miami. Okay. It still says Miami in the text, right? If I do a search for Miami, it says Miami 7 times on the homepage. I need to get rid of that, right? I need to change it out for Orlando. Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys real quick through how to do this. So under Orlando, I'm going to go to View Details. I'm going to go to Find and Replace. I'm going to say Find Miami, replace with Orlando, and I'm going to do this in all. Okay, and then I'm going to click Replace. It's literally that easy. That's what I need to do. And it says keyword replace successfully in 77 items. It's literally that simple. Okay. So I would do this for each and every one of those sites, right? So go to Site Manager, view details on the site that you want, and click on Find and Replace, okay? So next up is updating your logos. Anybody have problems updating their logo? Almost everybody said no. Okay, you can follow this tutorial if you guys are having trouble updating your logo. But basically, all you guys are going to do is open the PSD and make a couple of edits. I can do that real quick for you guys, for those of you that had problems. And then we're about done, and we're going to be jumping into immersion number 2. I'm going to be giving you guys literally the immersion number 2 checklist, and then I'm going to just start executing it, and you guys can watch me or you guys can jump off the call, whichever you guys prefer, all right? So restoration. So to download the assets The assets are the logos, the banners, the PSDs, the editable, obviously, logo. What you're going to want to do is go to the marketplace. You're going to go to whatever done for you sites that you guys have purchased or used your credits on, and you're just going to click download assets. Okay, and that's going to download a zip file called restoration, for example, .zip. I open this, and here are all my files. Okay, please note that you want to make sure that you install these fonts before you try to edit the PSD. Okay. Please provide checklist number 1. I already did, Tim Parker, buddy. In the chat, brother. Paste it again. All right, so then basically, guys, all that I would do is open up restorationlogo.psd, and it's right here. So live over the shoulder, I'm just going to edit this real quick. If you don't have the font installed, you're going to get this little yellow caution. Okay, to install a font, all that you literally do is double click on it on a Mac and say install font. Okay, and we're done. Okay, then I do that on the next one. So it says that there's a problem. I'm going to resolve the conflict automatically. It just says that there's multiple copies. Okay, so then what I would do, guys, is I would exit out of Photoshop and reopen it. But I'm not going to do that for the demo. I'll just show you guys how to edit this, right? So the only thing that I'm changing here is Miami, right? So I'm going to find my text tool. I'm going to select this layer, Miami Restoration Pros, and I'm going to literally type in Orlando, okay? Okay, then I'm just going to resize this to make it fit, okay? Then I'm going to do it the same for the tagline here. So I'm going to go ahead and edit. And again, guys, if you don't like Photoshop, you're not familiar with it, or you just don't frankly want to do it, you guys can outsource this on Fiverr, okay? So then what I would do is go to File and Save for web. Actually, I think that they just changed this. Yeah, Export, Save for web. And then I'm going to save this as a PNG. So with a PNG, your background can be transparent. I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep the size of the image the same. I'm going to click Save. I could probably optimize this and make it a little bit smaller, but for the demo, I don't really care. So I'm going to name this one Orlando. All right, and so we're done. So then I go into the site manager. I go to Orlando. I click View Details. I'm going to go update the logo down, right? So I'm going to go to Theme Settings. I'm going to go to Header, and I'm going to upload. I'm going to remove this logo, and I'm going to upload my logo, right? Here it is. Okay, there's my new logo. I'm going to save my settings, and there we go. We're updated, right? Okay, it's that simple, guys. This is very, very, very easy. The fonts are in the download. Okay, right here, fonts. There's a folder called fonts in your download. Okay. All right, guys. So let's jump back over here to the execution map. So then we would obviously update the logo, create a PNG or a JPEG, whatever you want there. Just don't try to upload a PSD to the theme. It won't work. You can't do that with any WordPress theme, right? You need a PNG or a JPEG or a GIF or something, all right? So then you go in and you're just going to want to add it to your site. And that's it, guys. That is the end of checklist number 1. Okay, I hope each and every one of you guys understand exactly what it is you need to do if you got caught up somewhere on a snag. GIMP may work, yes. There's another tool that we gave here that's free. That's a free editor that will open PSD files. I'm just trying to find it here, sorry. Here we go. and gave you guys a little walkthrough tutorial with it. And this is pixlr.com. So you guys can use this instead of Photoshop, and it basically works the same way, and it's free. So guys, if you have questions really quick, let's get them in on execution map number 1. All right, I don't want you guys to have a consult with Ryan unless you really can't figure something out. So if you have a question that you think I can solve here on the call, just go ahead and put it in the chat. And while I'm waiting for those to come in, I'm going to give you guys the link to the second checklist, right? And the second one I spelled wrong as well. Let me fix that. So here it is. If you have questions on the first checklist, please, please, please put them in now, and then we'll start going through the second immersion, all right? Second checklist. Do we just get one consult with Ryan? Helen says, no, you can have more than one consult with Ryan. Just please do me a favor. Don't abuse it. Don't do 2 consults, every other day or something like that. But no, there is no limit as of yet on consults with Ryan. What about different domain extensions, Philip says? That's a great question, Philip. So I like to use top-level domains. Let's go ahead and update this. I like to use top-level domains, meaning .com, .net, or .orgs, but about 99% of mine now are .coms, Philip. And the reason why is if you go ask your grandma, Philip, or your mother, or some elderly person to give you a URL of Walmart or something else, every one of them says .com, even though not all of them have the .coms, right? So, for example, I'd ask my grandma, like, "Hey, grandma, what's the URL?" Or how do you get to Craigslist? And she'd say, "Craigslist.com's the URL." No, it's not, grandma, right? Most elderly people only know of .coms. Right? So I use .coms for about 99% of my stuff. Grant Crilly says, will subdomains work for the city part of the URL? So basically Grant's saying, can I build out a big domain with, let's say that it was 24-7 restoration experts was his money site, right? And he's saying, can I build out a domain and then do one that's Miami dot? Okay, and then on another subdomain, do Orlando dot. Okay, and on another one, you guys get it, right? All the different cities. Palm Beach. Okay, who knows my answer to this? No. So I don't mind if you do Grant long term. Once you're already making a good 6-figure income from your lead gen sites, go for it. The problem is if you do it short term, you're going to have all of your eggs in one basket, right? If Google slaps it, which it happens every once in a while, right? If they slap one site and you have 5 versus 5 different cities on one subdomain, you're screwed. You have to start back at 0. Okay, now I can tell you in local, guys, I barely ever get slapped compared to the rest of Google. It just doesn't get updated as much. It's not as active in slaps and in hits and de-index and everything else, right? But I don't suggest when you get started that you guys built out these big sites that have the city as the subdomain. Okay, just instead get the city in the domain. Okay, so do Orlando restoration experts, do Miami, do Tampa, etc. I hope that makes sense. So any other questions on immersion number 1? Horatio says, are you concerned with putting city plus water damage versus water damage plus city? Always go for the one that has the most search volume, Horatio, if it's available, but it's not really that big of a deal. Will we get slapped for duplicate content on the Done For You site? Mel, you can answer that question for yourself. Go look at the top 20 cities in the US and do a search for that plus mobile dent repair. And at about 70% of them, you're going to find one of the Launchpad students crushing it. So, no. Are dashes okay in the domain? They are. I don't like them. Let's see. Rod says, how many domains do you use for one HostGator baby plan? Typically, Rod, between like 5 and 10, right? So if I have one account set up on all the 5 hosts, I can put, my very max would be 10. I could have 50 sites for not very much money, right? 50 sites, yeah, that breaks down to pretty cheap. 10 sites max per cPanel, typically anywhere between 5 and 10. Okay. Let's see. Mel says you guys are very detailed with setup. Thanks. We're trying, Mel. Do you purchase minimum 2 years on a domain? I only purchase 1 year on the registration. Greg says, can you get reseller accounts or can you comment on reseller accounts? Greg, you can use reseller accounts in Launchpad, but you have to do something a little bit different. So you guys can use the reseller accounts. I don't think it's worth it. I can get a baby plan or a hatchling plan or one of the plans that we suggest for you guys, and I can do it for cheaper than you guys would on a reseller plan. So I don't use reseller plans. I used to a long time ago when I had lots of clients and stuff. I was really big into reseller plans. I'm not anymore. It doesn't make sense for me. The big difference between the cheap shared hosting with unlimited add-on domains versus the reseller accounts is typically one thing, Greg, and that's that they give you a WHM control panel to log into versus cPanel. Okay, the problem is that Launchpad doesn't integrate with WHM. We integrate with cPanel. So basically, you're adding a couple more steps if you use WHM inside of Launchpad versus cPanel. If you guys don't know what cPanel or WHM panel is, and you don't know what reseller hosting and stuff is, don't worry. Okay, just follow the instructions that you guys got inside of the execution list. All right, all right. Yes, there will be a replay, of course. Call tracking numbers, we'll get into that very, very soon. Again, guys, let's keep it on checklist number 1 so that we can all get to the anticipated checklist number 2. How can we avoid competing with other Launchpad members? Joe, if you're really concerned about competing with other Launchpad members, I would suggest probably staying out of mobile dent repair. You can always go into any niche that you guys want. If I were you, I would do a quick little search though, and in the area and see if there are any Launchpad members there. All right. We're gonna have a little overlap the way that it is, right? But here's the deal, guys. There's 230 attendees on this call. We have about 800 Launchpad members. Probably the only active people are probably about 100 of you guys. It's sad. It really is. Okay, so out of 100, what are the chances that you guys are going to pick the same niche in the same city? Okay, does that mean that you'll never see competitors? No. Okay, but chances are there's not as many people taking action as you guys would believe. All right, all right, all right. Plus a lot of keywords, Greg says. Yeah, and I mean, once the sites get up, how many people actually build out the links, right? How many people actually get rankings? Not saying it's hard. It's not. Just people give up way too damn easy. All right, guys. Any questions? Please let me know on. Let me know inside on number 1. All right. Let me know in the chat right now. We're moving on to number 2 if I don't get any more questions. Let's see. Tim Parker says, Joe, can you clone any WordPress site inside Launchpad? Tim, you can. The only thing is you need to make sure if you're using the clone cPanel function that you're using one of the suggested cPanel accounts. That's really the magic. We can basically clone any WordPress site using clone cPanel. The big thing is we just have to be able to execute the clone on your behalf, and not all cPanel providers use the same setup. Okay. Is restoration a better keyword than water damage? It's not, Stan. That's a great question. So, guys, the reason that I use restoration versus water damage is short term, I'm going after water damage. Okay, that's the big focus short term. Okay, because I know that city plus water damage and water damage plus city is where a lot of money lies based upon my experience in the niche. However, I don't want to be pigeonholed into just doing water damage. That's why I am personally not using domains like Tampa waterdamageexperts.com. So I hope that makes sense. Longer term, I want to be able to hit all of the services inside of restoration, not just water damage. I'm going to be focusing pretty heavily on water damage short term, but I want to be able to go after fire damage, mold damage, and all kinds of other keywords like storms and things like that. And I don't want to just be limited to water damage. Okay, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? Definitely, Tom. John says I was cutting out for him. Sorry, I was standing up. That's probably why. Naaman says he had a problem with Launchpad not working with a version of WordPress. Just make sure that you're up to date, Naaman, and that the plugin that you're using for Launchpad is up to date as well, buddy. Chat is blowing up. The problem is a lot of these questions aren't really for number one, all right? So that's for number two. We'll get into that in a second. Tim says, does the find and replace do image names as well? It does not. You can't really do that, Tim, with a find and replace, unfortunately. Trying to figure out a solution for it, but it doesn't really work. All right, let's move on. Let's do this. All right, guys, so I gave you guys all checklist number 2 inside the chat. And what I'm going to do is have you guys just literally watch over my shoulder as I walk through the execution map and as I start actually executing this myself. So this will be recorded as well. What I'm going to do is duplicate this or make a copy. So file, make a copy. And I'm going to do Launchpad execution checklist 2-Joe. And this is just for my notes, right? So this is what I'm going to use so that I can edit it and you guys all still have the original version, right? But as I go through here and I do stuff, I start taking notes. And I want to make sure that these are in here for you guys. So basically, guys, the goal of this checklist and this execution map is to get the final edits of the lead gen site done. And guys, I'm very, very 80-20 on these lead gen sites. Okay, I don't change out very much before I start to go build links and I try to get it ranked. Why? Because if I can't get it ranked for some reason, what's it even matter what's on the site? Okay, or why does it matter what's on the site if it's not getting any traffic? Okay, there's no reason to spend hours on end messing with these sites if they're not getting traffic and they're not getting phone calls. Anybody have an aha moment there? I see a lot of people spending a boatload of time doing on-page optimization, making sure their images are just right, and just blowing out their WordPress site and spending a boatload of time on it. Don't do it. It's a trap. 80-20, guys. Okay? 80-20. Don't worry about the on-site either. Okay? All that you want to do is from the last execution map, okay, you want to change out and do a find and replace on the city, right? Okay, and then in this one, we're going to get a local address and we're going to get a new phone number. And that's all that I do for the short term. Okay? So after we make the final edits to our Launchpad site, we're going to officially start to creep into and get ready for our marketing campaign. So by the end of this execution map, if you guys are following along and you guys are doing the work that we're doing, by the end, your site is going to be finalized up to our standards and how we roll these sites out. Okay, you're going to have a local tracking phone number and a local address. Okay, number 2, you're going to have submitted your site or sites to Google My Business. Okay, you're going to have ordered citations so that you can rank in Google Maps, right? And you will have ordered your Cinewire money site accounts. And obviously, we're going to walk through what each and every one of these is. Okay? So I looked earlier about, let's see, is WP Backup Plus and Launchpad one and the same? Yes, sir. We're rebranding it officially to Launchpad. So at the beginning, it was called WP Backup Plus. Now you'll see them merged and kind of them referenced in exchange. In long term, next year we'll be phasing out WP Backup Plus. So I did a little search beforehand in our CRM and saw about 68 to 70% of you guys already have analytic call tracking. If you don't have analytic call tracking, give me a 2 in the chat. Somebody says, can you compare Launchpad versus LLGE? Launchpad is software and training, and LLGE was a training course that I built, Joe, 2 years ago that was all about lead gen. Think of what you're getting right now as LLGE 5.0 versus what's on the market right now of 2.0. And yes, that sells for $500. You guys are getting 5.0, quote unquote, for free. All right, so most people have ACT. We got a couple people that don't. So here, guys, is a link. You guys can pick up analytic call tracking here. Why do we use analytic call tracking, guys? Besides that I own it, that we built it. Why did we build ACT? Why do you guys use ACT versus Callfire and versus the competition in the marketplace? Let's see. Joe says because it's the best. Track leads. ACT is the best. Wholesale phone numbers. So that's the biggie, guys. Everybody in the marketplace, they're making money off of the markup of Twilio. So Twilio is a wholesale provider that is basically an API. So Twilio works with companies like us and bigger companies, right, to be able to provide quote unquote like telephony type of products, telephone products, right? However, Twilio doesn't service end customers. Okay, they work with people like us that have built applications. The difference between analytic call tracking and the rest of the marketplace is that we pass along the savings to you guys. Okay, we give you guys the pricing from Twilio. Okay, we don't mark it up. Okay, so that's a big difference. If you're going to have more than 5 call tracking numbers, you would be doing yourself a huge disservice by not signing up with analytic call tracking. All right, so there's a link in the chat for you guys to register. And for everybody that's not on the call, or everybody that's on the call that doesn't have it, after you grab it, if you go to this URL, we will install it for you for free. Okay, we want to get you guys up and rolling, take some of the work out of it for you guys as well. Cool? All right. Naaman says, I paid you 20. Yeah, sorry, Naaman. Everybody on the call, we're hooking you guys up. Typically, you charge 20 or 40 bucks to do the install. We're just going to do it for you guys for free. Okay? So if you don't have ACT yet, go ahead and grab it. If you already do, what we're going to do is we're going to set up our tracking numbers, right? So I'm going to grab all the domains that we have, and I'm just going to make note of them. And then I'm going to go grab tracking numbers for each and every one of these and set up my companies and everything. So you guys can literally watch over my shoulder, all right? So Launchpad execution checklist number 1. So I have all of them in here, my domains. Just give me a second as I grab these. So I'm just going to grab my domains, and I'm going to paste these into here. I'm just going to make these a little smaller. They're kind of big. All right, so I'm going to log into ACT, and we're going to go purchase tracking phone numbers and set up companies for these. You can think of companies as kind of groupings and organizations for everything. So here we go. So here's one of the ACT installs that we have. I'm going to go to Admin, Manage Companies. I'm going to click Add Company here, and I'm just going to start adding my companies. And my companies are going to be, let me get rid of some of this stuff, sorry. My companies are going to be my URLs, but just spread out, right? So I'm going to have St. Petersburg Restoration Experts, and I'm going to get rid of .com, and I'm going to make it actually look nice. Whoop. Okay. I'm going to just copy this actually. Okay, so I set up that company. So next up, we're going to do Orlando. So obviously, most of you guys are probably only setting up one company, but we are setting up 5 lead gen sites right now. Jacksonville. So I'm going to set up the company for each of these, and then I'm going to go buy the phone numbers inside of ACT. So 2 more here. Sarasota. Add company, and Tampa. All right, so admin, manage phone numbers, and then just add company. Obviously, if you guys get lost, you can look in the execution checklist or the checklist here, and it'll share with you guys exactly what to do. So next up, I'm going to go to manage phone numbers, and I need to get a local phone number for each of these. So what I'm going to do is, what's the list first here? St. Petersburg. So I'm going to do a search for St. Petersburg, and you can do whatever you want, but what you want is the maps results to come up. So I'm going to do water damage. And what I'm looking for, guys, is the phone number here. 727 looks like the area code, right? Anybody live in St. Pete on the call? Is 727 the main area code there? If you give me a 1 in the chat, that would be awesome. Yes. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, buddy. So I'm going to try to find a 727 phone number. So I'm going to go down and do a search by area code. You guys can also search by zip and near another number, but I'm just going to do 727, and then you just put asterisks in for the remaining numbers, and it's going to basically then just do a search for everything that starts with 727. So here we go. Lots of 727 numbers. Hudson, it looks like. So I'm going to grab, actually, what was the second number? 865 and 521. 865, 521. I don't see any of those. I'm just going to grab this first one here and click purchase phone number. I'm going to copy this too. All right, so I purchased this phone number, and guys, the phone numbers are $1 per number per month for non-800 numbers. So St. Petersburg's in there. Now I need to do Orlando. Whoop. Okay, so Orlando. So in Orlando, it's 321 or 407. I think 407 is the main one in Orlando. From me being in Orlando, 407. So search. So no 407s. Let's see. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So what's the other one there? 321. Let's do another search just to make sure. So let's do like, and guys, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to find the local area code, right? So I could do like Orlando DUI attorney or whatever I wanted. We just want the maps results to trigger. 407. Yeah, we could do 321. So let's do 321. 321. All right, cool. So see if we have 256 332 256 332. That one's good. Purchase phone number. Actually, let me copy this. Purchase. This is what we're going to use for Orlando. Okay, next up is Jacksonville. Actually, so this is one of my sites in Jacksonville. I just forget what the phone number is. Let's see, Jacksonville Appliance Repair. So 904. That first one, this one right here is mine. So 904. All right, so here we go. I'm going to grab this one. Oh, some funky formatting. There we go. So next is Sarasota. All right, so guys, any questions here? Yes, you can purchase foreign numbers with ACT. All right, so Orlando. No, Sarasota. Uh, 941 seems to be the big area code. 941. Search. There we go. All right, and then Tampa. Can I get a 1 if you guys are liking this? I know that I'm not just teaching and it's not all slides, it's over the shoulders. It's a little hard for me to just sit back and kind of do this all in front of you guys and not have slides and everything else in front. It feels weird. Let's see, Tampa. Would love some feedback from you guys. Yeah, you guys like it? Cool. Lots of 1s. Fantastic. Let's see. Joe says, with ACT, does the receipt of the call lead see a caller ID? Yeah, they see the tracking number caller ID, Joe. Okay, so 813 for Tampa. 813. Okay. All right. So here's my number. I'll purchase it. All right, guys. So I got all the phone numbers purchased for my sites, my 5 sites here. So obviously, I already have ACT set up. So these are the steps, right? Log into your ACT install, set up a new company. I set up the companies. I bought the phone numbers. So the last step is to assign a phone number to the company. Guys, I want to make sure that you guys see that for like everything that's blue and underlined here, and a lot more, there's training videos for these, okay? So I linked up all of these for you guys. So if you don't catch something on the webinar, probably the easiest way is just to follow these instructions, all right? So now we need to assign the phone number to the company. So we're going to go back here. We're going to go to Admin Manage Companies. Let me pull this other screen off so I can see the phone numbers. So the first one that we did was St. Petersburg. There we go. And so the phone number here was 727. So I'm going to save that. So basically we've assigned this phone number to St. Petersburg. Okay, we've tied it to that company. Okay, so next up we need to do Orlando. Orlando. And Orlando's is 321. Here we go. Jacksonville is up next. Jacksonville Restoration Experts. And it's 904. There we go. Okay. And Sarasota. I could probably make this a little bigger for you guys, huh? Sorry about that. Sarasota. Area code in Sarasota is 941. And last but not least, Tampa, and it's 813. All right, so if we jump back over to, let me clean this up a little bit. Jump back over to our list of tasks here in execution list number 2. We'll see where we're at, right? Hang on, guys. Way too many windows. Shut it down, shut it down. All right, cool. So we've completed up to assign the phone number to the company, right? So next what we need to do is set up a call flow. And so to start, basically, we typically just send the calls to a voicemail or we have it ring one phone number, all right? So we can do either one in here, and I'll just show you guys how to do these. So let's choose like Tampa under none here. This is the call flow. When you choose this, basically what you're saying is, what happens when somebody calls this phone number, right? What happens? So if I do ring one number, it's just going to ring one phone number, and we can just literally say, this is the phone number that I want it to call, 561-841-1832, right? And I can specify business hours if I want. For right now, this is just a placeholder, right? Like we don't have any leads coming in. So I would say no here, and I keep everything else as is, okay? So when somebody calls the Tampa phone number, if one of you guys calls it, please don't, by the way, you're gonna kill my team with phone calls. It would actually call our office, right? So what I'm gonna do for now is I'm just gonna go through all of the restoration sites, and I'm gonna put in that call flow, right? So each of these are getting a call flow. Actually, let me show you guys how to do an advanced call flow since some of you guys haven't seen this. So with this, guys, you guys can literally drag and drop and create your guys' own call flow tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have one go straight to voicemail. So all that I'm going to literally do is say greeting, actually voicemail. So I'm going to just go direct from when they call to voicemail. And I'm going to say ring count to voicemail 60 seconds. So that's fine. And then I'm going to do text to speech. So this is what's going to play to the customer or to the person calling to tell them it's they've reached the voicemail, right? So I'm going to say thanks for calling restoration experts. And guys, I'm going to do this strategic so that I don't have to do this for every one of my sites. So I'm going to say, thanks for calling the Florida restoration experts, right? So they're going to hear that on the voicemail when in reality, my sites are Tampa restoration experts, right? They're Orlando restoration, St. Pete. I could customize this for each of them. For me, I'm just going to use one because I'm lazy. All right. So I'm going to go, thanks for calling the Florida restoration experts. Unfortunately, we can't take your call right now. Please leave a message and we will get back to you. Okay. Literally, that's it. And once you put in your message, guys, you guys can choose your voice, man, woman, or Alice, and dialect. And guys, honestly, Alice sounds the best. I don't know why, it just is that way. And if you go English and then UK, that's the best one sounding one that I believe, all right? So then if you click test, I don't think you guys are going to be able to hear this. Let me know. Could you guys hear this? Can you hear it? No. Okay. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to, when you see this pulsing, it means that we're using the speaker, right? And so basically this is going to automatically create your message, right? It's going to be, the software is making this message for you. This is what people will hear when they reach the voicemail. And I could say ring count to voicemail could be down. I mean, I could put this at, 10 seconds if I wanted. Okay, and then I could just say save. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click save, and the call flow has been saved, right? So if I exit out of this, this was for St. Petersburg restoration experts. Let me show you guys a nice little time-saving tip. So I can go down to all the other ones, right? Tampa, I could go replace this one. I could go advanced, edit settings, and then I could say copy from company, St. Petersburg, right? Copy, there's my voicemail. Okay, already in there, ready to go. Okay, save, we're good to go. Yep. Is that cool? So we did St. Pete, we did Tampa, we need to do Sarasota. So advanced, edit settings, copy from company, St. Petersburg, copy. Okay, save. Right, so all the voicemail on all of these for me is going to be the same. Like I said, I could customize it. I could put in each city if I wanted, but for me, I'm just a little lazy. I don't really think it's worth the time, right? If the phone gets answered as Florida's expert restoration company versus Orlando's expert restoration company, do you think most people are going to be alarmed? No. Somebody says, wow, you are lazy. Thanks, Greg. I know you're just kidding, buddy. It's all good. Let's see. Where are my other ones here? Orlando. Advanced, edit settings, copy from company, St. Petersburg, copy. Okay, save. Okay, which one haven't I done this for? St. Petersburg, Orlando. I think Jacksonville is the only one. All right, this should be the last one. Copy from company, St. Pete, copy. Okay, save. All right. Somebody said, dude, your battery's about to die. It is. Hang on one second. Good call. All right. Good to go. All right. So we went through and we have this all set up. We added the phone numbers. Now what I need to do is I need to add each of these phone numbers to my local site, right? So I need to go back inside of Launchpad. I'm going to pull this off so I can update them easily. And I'm going to go to Site Manager. And I'm going to go on the site and I'm going to update each of these really, really quickly, right? So view details for Tampa. So Tampa. I'm going to go to Theme Settings. And I'm going to go to, where's this? Yeah, right here. Phone number. Okay, I'm going to update this one. Okay, I'm going to go back to Site Manager. I'm going to go to Orlando. I'm going to go to Theme Settings, Phone Numbers. Okay, next up, St. Petersburg. Back to Site Manager, Jacksonville. Here we go. Site Manager, Sarasota. This one keeps flashing red, so I might be having some trouble. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, looks like it's down or something. That is weird. All right, so I'm gonna have to look into that one later. I'm gonna make a note right here that I didn't change. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep going here. So all of them have been updated except for this last one, or the Sarasota one. All the other ones have. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the blacklist. So the blacklist, guys, basically, I'm going to go to manage companies. Blacklists allow you guys to block specific phone numbers. Okay, and these phone numbers are all telemarketing type of phone numbers that you would want to block. If you guys have set up sites before, you've submitted them to local directories, you guys know that you get a lot of spam phone calls. That sucks, right? So what we want to do is we want to block all of these spam phone calls. So we gave you guys access to our blacklist here. And so what we're going to want to do is you guys are just going to want to copy this, all of these in here, and you're going to copy and paste this into the blacklist. So we're going to go through and tackle this together, right? So what I would do, I've already created a blacklist called main, and you guys can see I've applied that to like every one of these here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a blacklist like I'm doing this from scratch, all right, so that you guys can follow along. I'm going to click add blacklist, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to call this immersion, right? So I know when I created it when I look back in here. And I'm going to click numbers here, and I can literally copy and paste this entire list in here, guys. And guess what? All those numbers are blocked. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to manage companies, and I'm going to apply that blacklist for every one of the companies, right? So I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and I'm going to pick my blacklist. Blacklist, immersion, right? St. Petersburg, I'll take a little bit to update. St. Petersburg blacklist is immersion. Okay, and I'm just going to apply this to every single one of the companies that I just set up. So, Sarasota restoration experts, blacklist, immersion. So I got 3 of them done. Orlando, blacklist, immersion. So guys, again, what this is going to do is block all those telemarketers that we have blocked in the past, right? And that we put in the phone numbers for. So, where's my last one? St. Pete, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Jacksonville. Immersion. All right, I'm going to do a search on restoration experts just to make sure, or restoration, make sure I got all of these. Here we go. It's not one for the demo, but I have Miami here as well. Sarasota, yep. Okay, looks like we got them all. All right, so basically then, guys, in the future, when calls come in, you guys can assign any caller ID to a blacklist, and any blacklist that you guys want, right? So if I go to like my dashboard and I go to, let's do like this site. This one's pretty inactive right now. If I go here, you see this X right here, all that you got to do is click this and it will add it to the blacklist, right? So if you listen to a call and some guy keeps calling you like 10 times a day and he's spam, you guys can just blacklist the number just like that, okay? Any questions? We'll take a little breather here since we completed step 1. So I'll take a couple minute break and just answer you guys' questions here. We're about an hour and a half in, guys. Feel free. You guys can jump off at any point. This is going to be, again, the rest of this is going to just be me over the shoulder, still going through the checklist number 2. But I'm going to take a couple of minutes and field your guys' questions that you guys have. And then if you guys want, you guys can jump off or you can stick around and keep watching. Can we get a list of the blacklist you have? Claudette, we gave it to you. Okay, this is our master blacklist. Okay, this is all of the phone numbers that we're currently blacklisting. Okay. Gotta go. Thanks. Will there be a replay? There will be, Lowell. Good to see you on, brother. We'll send you a replay. Can you put it in the chat? The link's in the Google Doc. David Curtin says, won't the directories delist you if you blacklist their telemarketers? David, I used to wait a long time ago. I used to wait for about 2 weeks after I set up the site to apply the blacklist in case I got like confirmation calls from the local directories. But David, I don't really see that happening anymore. Typically, David, what I'm seeing happen is immediately right out of the gate after you do the submissions, all these telemarketers start calling you just to pitch them, and there's really no to pitch you services, advanced services. They're not really confirmation calls anymore. You rock, Joe. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it, brother. Is Google My Business important? It is the best return on investment that you can make for a lead gen site. Yes, very important. This is great, Jeff. Great stuff, Joe. Thanks, LaFan. Can you show adding the website you just cloned to Launchpad? It's already added. If you do a clone and you have the plugin installed when you do the clone, it should already be there, right? So I did Tampa, and when I look in here, here's Tampa, right? It's already in. So I hope that makes sense. Where are the replays? We'll be sending it out. Let's see. Gary says, how bad does it hurt you if you have less established area codes in an area? Do leads think your company isn't well established because it hasn't been along for long enough? Gary, I'm not really that picky about the area codes as long as it's something like that people have never heard of, right? So that's why I'm trying to find results in Google Maps, and it's a local common phone number is what I'm trying to find. It doesn't have to be like Miami, for example. Let's do a search for like Miami DUI attorney. 305 is like the old area code in Miami, right? But they're like getting rid of 305 area codes, like not getting rid of, they're like maxed out on those numbers. So now 786 is a very common number in South Florida and in Miami. And so for me, they're pretty much interchangeable. By all means, though, if I knew that 305 was like the known area code, I get it. Right, but 786 is becoming really popular as well. So for me, it's not that big of a deal. Hope that helps, man. Thanks, Joe. Good stuff as usual. You're welcome, Jim. So real quick feedback while I'm answering everybody's questions. How many of you guys have already booked your ticket for the workshop? Mark Casey, my man. Jeff, booked. Teresa, booked. Rob is booked. Robert's booked. Ed's booked. Mark, you're funny, man. So, guys, again, the link to book, you guys can see there's probably already about 14 or 15 people that are booked for this event. And, guys, honestly, we only have 40 spots. Okay, it's just a problem. The hotel can't take more than 40. Okay, so I'm sure we'll probably sell like 45 spots. Okay, because I know a couple people won't show. Okay, but we are limiting this out. We have to. It is a space problem with the hotel. So here's the link to learn everything about it. See the testimonials, see all the dates and where it is and everything. But guys, seriously, don't delay on this. These will go fast, I promise you. Okay, so let's get back to it. Questions. I missed the link. It's in the bottom. All the links are in the chat, and of course, we'll be emailing out a replay that'll have all the links as well. What's the cost of that? It's 99 bucks and it's refundable, right? You show up, we give your deposit back, Andrew. It's our way to get you guys out to the event, right? Our mastermind is $1,000 to come to. We sell out last time 2 months early. Okay, this is an opportunity for us to have twice as many people in the room and to give everybody a shot at coming, right? You don't have to meet all the qualifications. Plus, you don't have to pay $1,000 just to come to the mastermind, right? No, Robert, you're good, buddy. Can I stay at a dog-friendly hotel? You can, you still need to pick up. You still need to pay for the $99 deposit, though. Once we get traffic and the phone to ring, then what? Okay, then we're going to go get a client, right? So, Terry, we're going to cover that, buddy. Okay, but the first couple of these are going to be all focused on getting traffic, right? Because we have to get traffic before we can go sell it. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys watch over my shoulder as we pick up clients as well. You'll see my pitfalls. You guys will see me crush it, hopefully, as well. All right. All right. Again, guys, give me your questions. I want to make sure I answer them, and then you guys can jump off if you want. And then I'm going to spend a couple more minutes trying to knock out as much of the immersion checklist as I can. Immersion checklist number 2 here. Tom says, did you say you would install ACT for us at no cost? I sure did, Tom. The link, buddy, is in the Google Doc in this checklist, right? So right up here, again, just tell our team that you're part of the Launchpad immersion group. Cool, Tom? Finding local addresses, Errol, that is next on the list. And guys, honestly, you guys shouldn't even need me for the immersions. Okay, you shouldn't. However, right, because you have these checklists. However, I want to be on camera. I want to go through it with you guys. I want to make sure that even if we can't touch on something on the call, that you have a video to turn to make sure that you know how to do everything, right? So Errol, by all means, guys, you guys should be able to accomplish 99% of what's in these checklists just by watching what's in here. The bonuses are just an extra so you guys can watch, or the immersion, live immersion calls, these webinars like we're having right now, are just a bonus so you guys can literally watch me over my shoulder execute, and hopefully you guys can work as well and you guys can plan out and carve out time to execute with me, right? Live on these calls. Troy Scott, I'm crushing it in value. Thank you. You're welcome, brother. I hope you guys are digging this. Again, it's different for me. It's a little weird. Alex says, Alex, what you have is good, buddy. You don't need anything more than that. Thanks, Joe. You're really over delivering. You the man. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it, brother. I like this way. Cool. Additional inputs gold. We'll be talking about Google Maps. It's in this execution map, right? So after you guys get your local address in step 2, step 3 is going to be to submit to Google My Business, okay? So how many of you guys are kind of freaked out on that process? Like, Google My Business, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of freaked out about actually, what to put in the listing. How many of you guys are a little freaked out with that? Yeah, a little weird, right? Never done it before. Okay, great. So what I did is this. You guys literally get step by step by step how to do this. Look, go to google.com/business. Click get on Google. Okay, sign into your account. Add your business. Okay, fill in your information. Confirm your business. Verify your business. Right? Like literally every step is in there for you guys. Okay, I don't want you guys to have any questions on this stuff. I'm sure that you guys will, okay, but do me a favor and give me feedback. If you get stuck somewhere, you catch a snag, let our team know about it so we can update the checklist for everybody else and everybody can just fly through that process. Okay. All right, guys. Let's say 5 more minutes of questions, and then I'm going to jump back into going through execution checklist number 2. All right. Umair says it's not in the chat. Yes, it's in the chat. Literally, execution checklist 1 and 2 are in the chat. I'll paste them again for you. And we emailed these to you as well, Umair. Let's see. Dan Bryant says, Joe, since I'm based in Dallas, I would like to focus on Texas. If you were me, would you just go after the other major cities in Texas that are under 1 million in population? Dan, if I were you, I'd probably build one for Dallas too, right? However, that would probably be my last focus. Okay. Hope that helps, buddy. Wouldn't say that I'd never go after it. It's just going to take me longer to get results. So I'm not going to make it a priority to start. Can we fly into Fort Lauderdale versus West Palm Beach Airport? You sure can, Amy. I did that last night, actually. Just know that it's about a 45-minute to an hour drive. Okay, there's obviously transportation that you can get from the hotel. It's just Palm Beach is literally the airport here in West Palm Beach, or PBI, is literally, I think, like 4 miles to the hotel. Our CRA says, can you go over how you get address in Google Maps if you don't if you don't live in that state? I sure can. Check this out. Submit to step 2. See if your city's in our research. Okay, you get a virtual office, right? Well, guess what we did, guys? We had all these virtual offices that we went out and we researched. Top 100 and is it 100 or more than 100? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's 100. The top 100 and some odd. 100 and... That's a lot, man. 276. The top 276 cities in the U.S., we went out and did research for you on virtual offices. Okay, and we tried to make sure that all of these match our criteria. Okay, but we also gave you guys our criteria. Okay, so this is the criteria that we use to decide on a virtual office. Okay, so for example, we want it to be very close to the city center, and we talked to you guys about how to find the city center. Okay, we don't want it to be a huge virtual office company like Regis, ServCorp, DaVinci, or Opus. Okay, we don't want the company to have more than 5 locations. We want small mom and pop virtual offices. We want a month-to-month contract, right? So you can literally cancel as soon as you get your verification postcard. Okay, we want it to be under $75 a month, and then we went into bonus tips like adding multiple businesses to the same address. Okay, and how we make the addresses unique if we do that. Okay, so we went through all of this. That's already in there. Okay, if we're telling you guys to go get an address, you guys can bet your money that we're teaching you guys exactly what to do. Luke says, blown away by that list of virtual offices. That was like my VA working for like a week and a half, Luke. This is like digital triggers condensed right now. Thanks, Mark. Mark says, can I use a friend's address that lives in that city? You sure can, Mark. I just suggest at the end hiding your address. You guys can do that in Google My Business. We can talk about that in another call coming up. Naomi, don't do that. I just got blown out of the water. This is something else. Thanks. Just a week and a half. Let's see. Do I have a link to the offices? It's in the Google Docs, guys. When I send you guys the immersion checklist, all of the resources are going to be in there, right? All the things are going to be linked directly to, right? So you guys can go and open it and use it yourself. Is there a cheaper way than $75? So Diane, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give you a little bit of hell, and don't take it personally. Okay, but here's the thing, guys. When you guys submit for your Google My Business, okay, you only need that address for 1 month. Okay, so literally think of it as $75 to have an address for Google My Business. You can cancel right after that. That's why we look for people that are month to month as well. If you need to cancel, you guys can, right? 75 bucks a month just for an address doesn't really make a lot of sense for some people, and that's fine. Okay, but $120 is what we spend on citations. $75 is what we spend on an address, up to $75. That's a $200 investment. I've shown you guys examples of sites like Jacksonville Appliance Experts that we mentioned today that gets like 50, 60 calls a week, and 90+% of the calls come from Google Maps. That's a crazy return, right? Each and every one of you better be doing Google Maps. Okay, and if 75 bucks is a lot of money, you need to figure out a way to get past that. Okay, find a friend that lives there and it'll work for. Okay, or just pay the 75 bucks, right? Go sell a client something so that you guys can invest in yourself. But don't, I repeat, please do not skip these steps. Don't not submit to Google My Business and do your citations for $75 investment that you can't afford. Okay, please, please, please. It is the best investment that you will ever make with your guys' lead gen sites. Okay? Can I get it too if everybody understands that and they're not going to skimp out, right? Don't use a P.O. box, George. You understand you're not going to skimp out. You're going to follow the map that we gave you guys. Please do not do that. That's not why we did this. That's not why we're doing these immersions. Okay? I don't care if you have to cancel it or if you're strapped for cash, if you cancel it after month 1. If 75 bucks is a lot of money, go find somebody that's cheaper, that's 30 bucks a month or 50 bucks a month. 75 is just our limit. We don't pay more than that. All right? Cool. Sorry for the rant. All right, guys. If you guys liked this training, if you guys would please leave me a heartfelt comment or testimonial. I have no shame. I'd really appreciate it. My team would appreciate it. It means the world to us. I'm going to jump back in and keep going through this research, all right? And guys, again, feel free to jump off at any time. I will send you guys a replay when we finish this thing up. All right, so next for me is we're going to find our local addresses, all right? So what I'm going to do is I have this listing here. So I'm going to go right here. And again, I'm going to copy my cities down here. So St. Petersburg, Orlando, Jacksonville, Sarasota, and Tampa. All right. So I need to find a virtual office for each of these. So basically, I'm going to start just like you guys, right? And so what I'm going to do is start right up here at the top. Okay, so we're going to find a local address. Why? Obviously, we want to rank in Google Maps. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a note of the radius of the current rankings in Google My Business. So what I mean by that is we're going to do a search for our keywords in Google, including the city. So for example, St. Petersburg water damage. And we're going to take a screenshot of the map. Okay, for example, here's one that I did for you guys. Okay, so this is for St. Petersburg. I would want my virtual office, if possible, to be somewhere in this green area. Okay, I want it to be close to everything else. Okay, so what I'm going to do for each of these is make myself a little note here, right? So I'm going to do Orlando next. Orlando water damage. And I use Sketch, guys, to do these screenshots that you guys see like in all of my videos. So This one's interesting, right? This is Orlando, and they're kind of all over the map here. It looks like, yeah, both of these addresses are hidden in the map. So what I'm going to do, this isn't a very good one because there's only one showing here. You guys see this little square? So I'm actually going to do another niche. So I'm going to do like Orlando DUI lawyer. All right, I need these dots. I need to know where I should be located. Okay, then I'm going to grab a screenshot of it. And I'm going to just go like this, share and copy URL. And guys, the brilliance of this, some of this stuff for some of you guys might seem like it's too much. It's a little too detailed. The brilliance of this stuff is it's detailed on purpose so that you guys can learn how to outsource this, right? So Orlando. Next, I need to do Jacksonville. All right. Yeah, see, check this out. Right here, no address. This one has an address, this one has an address. So right here is what we got in Jacksonville. Let me take a screenshot of this as well. Okay. Sarasota. All right, that one's easy. So guys, for example, my grandmother lives in Sarasota half the year, or about 4 months out of the year during the winters. She lives in Ohio every time else, and I know that she lives like right here, somewhere off of Bay Vista Street. So this would be a perfect example of where I could use a family member or a friend if I wanted to. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And obviously, guys, if you're using a family member or a friend or something like that, I would definitely recommend hiding your address. And basically, all that you say is that you're a service-based business. You don't want to show your address, and it won't show in Google Maps, just like these results don't show that I've shown you. So Tampa. Okay. All right, almost done with this first step. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to open up this Google Doc. And what I'm going to do here is find the locations and see if we have any virtual offices. And I'm going to click through these and make sure that they match as much of the criteria as possible. And if I see something that I don't like that doesn't match the criteria that I gave you guys, I'm not going to list it, right? So I'm going to make a short list for me to follow up with, and I'll call these people on the phone and ask them the rest of the questions. So St. Petersburg is first. And we don't have that. It doesn't, oh, here we go, we do. All right, so here's the first one. Let's open all three of these. And again, these are the criteria that I'm gonna kind of be looking at as I look through these virtual offices. All right, so you guys can follow along. So check out this crappy site, right? All right, so let's take a look at their plans. Virtual offices page. All right, so you're going to see, guys, that the packages are probably kind of all similar around in virtual offices. A lot of them will give you like a mailbox type of package where all that you have access to is literally to use their address for mail. And that's all that we want, guys. And then a lot of them will have other things where, oh, you get to use their office space and you get to use their printers or their scanners, or you get a phone number or whatever. You guys don't need that shit. All that we want is the mailbox. And it says call for monthly rates. So everything's looking okay so far. What I want to do though is I want to look at the address, right? I'm trying to figure out where this is because I don't really know St. Pete that well. And what I'm going to do is go back over to my notes and I'm going to look at this Evernote doc of the stuff that was ranking. And again, guys, I just want stuff that's in the vicinity or is close. Wait, that's St. Pete. Oh, this is St. Pete too. Hang on. Okay, so off of 275. Where is that? I think that's up here. So let's see. Yeah. So somewhere in this vicinity is where they're telling me I should be, right? Right around here somewhere. And here's the virtual office right here. Okay, so this virtual office would work really, really well. This site doesn't load anymore. Let's see if this one is. This other virtual office. This is looking like it's going to be a really good opportunity for us. And again, the reason why I like this because I'm not seeing that they have a boatload of locations. This isn't some huge conglomerate. It's within the area of St. Pete that we want to be as well. And they have, the mail only plan, which is exactly what we want, right? So I'm going to put this in here. It looks like that those two other sites, since we've built the list, have actually went down. So we won't be looking at any of the others. I'm going to move on to Orlando. So open this up. Okay, I'll stop real quick for a second. Does everybody understand what I just did? Everybody's good? No big problems? Doug says he has a Camtasia running if I need a backup. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Webinar's getting a little long. Hopefully we don't crash. Everybody's got it? Cool. All makes sense. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm going to keep going. So Orlando, find it in this list. And then I'm going to open up again the links that we have for Orlando. And I'll point out, guys, anything that I see on these sites that I don't like or that doesn't fit my criteria. So here's one. And what we're going to do, company address, what'd that say? Company address and live reception services for 119. So that's not bad because they say live reception. I don't want the live reception though. So I'm going to look at the programs and here we go. Company address program. So $69 per month or $89 per month with month-to-month billing. So that's okay. I'm not really happy with this. Look at this, guys. You see what this last sentence says? This makes me want to run the other way. Our mail program can also help your online SEO rankings. Google Places only recognizes physical street addresses, right? Google Places is obviously the old Google My Business. If a bunch of people have spammed this location, I don't want it, right? If they spam this address, a bunch of other lead gen people are using it, I don't want it. And I see here that they have 4 other locations here. So I'm going to count this one out of my search. Does that make sense to everybody why I counted it out? Why I'm not going to be going with this company? Yep. Cool. All right, so go away that one. This one's gone. Collab Orlando. This looks more like a co-working space than just a virtual office. I'm not sure that this is going to work for us. So let's see if they have like a services or pricing. Okay, here we go. So this one's 99 bucks a month. It doesn't say anything about the address. It says you'll be listed on their site. For me, I would probably not be all about this one. So if a city you can't find a good virtual office for after you look in the Google Doc, what you're going to want to do is just do a search for the city plus virtual office. Hopefully most of you guys can find some from the Google Doc that we gave you. And again, when you're looking through here, you're going to want to stay away from the big boys, like we said, like Regis, DaVinci, Opus. I don't see any other big ones here, but you're going to want to stay away from those, right? And I don't click on any results that are in the map personally. So I'm just going to open a couple of these here. Stay away again from the big guys. This could be a smaller person. When somebody has a URL structure like this, nameofthcompany.com/US/Orlando, that makes me think it's going to be a big ass site, right? So I'm not going to click on this. I'm going to click on this one. This one could be smaller, could be big. I'm not sure. Look at this one too. Here, virtual office for $19.95 a month. Let's skip to this one and see if it'll work. Yes, I like these crusty old sites as long as they're still in business. All right. Virtual office. $8.95 a month. Let's see what the address is. Okay. Say anything about address? No. So I don't know about this one. Our locations. There we go. Yeah, no thanks. We're proudly serve almost every nook and cranny in the U.S. and now 58 countries worldwide. That is not what we want. All right, we want a small mom and pop, not many locations. So I'm going to go to virtual package. Let's see these guys, BizHub. Package number 1, mailbox service. Again, this is really all that we need. Okay, total cost $100 a month plus a one-time administrative fee. Services, business identity. Here we go. So here is one that would work, right? $50 a month. You get access to their business address. They'll collect your mail, sign your packages, and save your mail in a secure place. This is exactly what we want here. So let's take a look at their address. Hopefully they don't have a bunch of locations. It says downtown Orlando. Here we go. So let's make sure that this is, that this is within the vicinity that we want to be in. So 450 and 408 kind of in the intersections of those. Looks like this isn't going to be kind of the right location. Let's see. There's 50. There's 4. And I think this was 408 that we were talking about, right? Yeah, so it's just like literally right over here. So this address I am completely good with. Okay, the other ones are like here and here and here. So I'm fine with this address right here. So fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and put this in my notes. All right, now up to Jacksonville. You guys want me to do one more, or you guys want me to keep going? One more, keep going. One more, keep going. Keep going, keep going. Next. Keep going, move on. Okay, so I'm going to move on. So guys, basically what I would do then is I go through, I'd find one or two options for each one. I'm going to call them on the phone and make sure that this last bonus tip is good. Okay, and that is if I want to add a business on to my account with you, how much is it going to cost? So a lot of times they will let you add on, virtual offices will let you add on a business for less than the original price. So a lot of the virtual offices that we have are anywhere from $5 to $15 a month to add on a business. Okay, so some of these virtual offices I will never really get rid of. Okay, so let's say that I built out a site in St. Petersburg and I have 3 other niches or 2 other niches that I want to hit. If I can just get it for $10 more a month, I'm going to go with them for a couple months and not have to do all the searching all over again. Okay, and if we end up doing that, what we want to do right here is we want to end up using unique suites. Okay, so the first site would maybe be suite 215A. The second one would be 215B. Third one, 215C. Fourth one, 215D. Does that make sense? That's going to make it look unique and look unique in all my citations as well when I build them. Make sense? Can I get a 1? Everybody's dozing off? Cool. Okay. All right, so once everything checks out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign up with these guys, right? I want to double check that it meets this criteria, but then I'm going to sign up. They're going to send me over, once I sign up, a little form. I forget what the number is of the form, but they all basically, about 90% of them are going to send you guys a form. And the form basically is for the United States Postal Service. And basically what you're going to put in is your name and what you're going to be getting mail as. So for my name for the billing, I just use my personal name. And then there'll be another box saying what you get mail as. And that's where you're going to put in your lead gen site name. And by lead gen site name, what I use is this, okay, without the .com and spaced out, right? St. Petersburg Restoration Experts would be the name that I'm receiving mail as. Okay. Okay, I'm going to send that back to them, and they're going to say, yep, you're good to go. Okay, we're submitting this information. And then I go, and I'm going to submit to Google My Business. Okay. So the only real prerequisite for Google My Business is that I have my phone number, I have my address, and I want to make sure that my phone number and my address are on my money site, my lead gen site, right? And I need a Gmail or a Google account. Personally, guys, I set up a Gmail account. Okay, and I put in my site name at gmail.com. So for example, again, Orlando Restoration Experts at gmail.com. And that's the email address that I use solely just for Google My Business. Okay, and the reason that I do it is because it makes it very, very simple for me to remember the logins for all my Google Business accounts. Okay, so then guys, what I would do is I would walk through this step-by-step tutorial doc. Submitting to Google My Business is very simple. The part where everybody gets tripped up in is what we just walked through, right? Getting the virtual address, getting the local address to put into Google My Business, all right? So then this is big. So after I'm done submitting to Google My Business, I will set up a to-do in my calendar is personally what I do. But I set up a reminder, a to-do in my calendar for 2 weeks from that date. Okay, and my to-do in 2 weeks when this date approaches is to call the virtual office. And I'm going to say, hey, this is Joe Troyer from site name, right? From Orlando Restoration Experts. And I was just calling to see if you could check my mailbox for something. And they'll say, yeah, hang on one second. and then they'll put me on with somebody else usually, or they'll come back on and they'll ask me for my mailbox and, typically like a security password or something like that. I'll give it to them and then they'll say, okay, what are you looking for? And I say, all I want is this little postcard from Google. I'm like, you can throw everything else away. Just let me know if you have that. And they'll say, hang on, hang on. And then they'll come back on and they'll say if they have it or not. Okay, if they have it, they're going to give me a PIN. I'm going to go log into my Google My Business account, and I'm going to go verify that account with the PIN that they just gave me. And I always do it while they're on the phone with me to make sure that they don't give me a number wrong or I can't remember the number, right? So I don't have to call back and ask them to, read it out loud again. Okay, so once I've verified that it's correct, I will literally tell them on the phone, all right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. And oh yeah, by the way, you can throw all my mail away, right? Because I'll get a bunch of junk mail in that time. Okay. Important. If you do not get within 2 weeks your verification postcard from Google Maps, I am giving you gold right now. There is a workaround. You can do phone verification with Google Maps. I only recommend doing it though if you set it all up and you legitimately don't get your postcard. So I've hooked you guys up with some friends of mine over at Local Oxygen that do this for not only me, but for my mastermind members as well. So let's say 2 weeks goes by, we set up a lead gen site, and guess what? We call up the virtual office and we never get our postcard. They haven't gotten it. Okay, or whether they fumbled it, it got lost in the mail, Google never sent it, no matter what, we call up Francie from Local Oxygen and she sets us up an appointment with Kevin. Okay, and Kevin's the guy that we're working with. Kevin calls Google and says, hey, this is Kevin from their name of their services company that does literally thousands of Google My Business calls and verifications. And says, hey, I have a client on the line and they are trying to verify their Google My Business. Card must have got lost in the mail. They'll ask you 1 or 2 questions. Oh, when did you submit it? What's the name of the business? What's the phone number and the address? Okay, great. And they will verify it over the phone. This, guys, is worth whatever it is that you paid for Launchpad. Whether you paid for the year, for the month, this is gold. Not maybe even better than gold. This is like platinum right here. This is sick. Okay, because what's going to happen is you're either going to get your postcard like immediately within a couple of days, or guess what? You're probably not going to have it. And if you guys didn't have this contact, you wouldn't have anywhere to turn to. Okay. So we all good. We know how to get our virtual office. We know how to get our phone numbers. We know how to submit to Google My Business. We know how to get the virtual address. We know what to do if our postcard doesn't come for verification. We have a resource for that. Give me a 1 if we're good to go. We're good to go. We're good to go. We can keep moving. David Deuced, what's up, brother? It's good to see you on, man. All right. You guys are awesome today. We still have almost 200 people on the call, and we have a lot of interaction here. This is getting fun. So step 4, guys, is to order your local citations. So if you don't know what this is, you want more information on local citations, on ranking in Google Maps, you guys can go check out the posts that we did on digital triggers. If you go to Google and rank or search for like how to rank on Google Maps, you'll see the digital triggers blog. Yep, right here. Last I looked, we were actually beating out Google for how to rank on Google Maps. But if you share this page and you watch this video, there's a bunch of good resources on how to rank on Google Maps. And we'll talk more about, guys, the why and everything else. Whereas the execution map that I gave you guys is literally just kind of like step by step. Do this, do this, do this. Don't worry about anything else, right? So the next step is ordering your citations. One of the things that we talk about in the Google Maps video on digital triggers is the difference between all these different citation tools out there, between the guys that do it manually and the aggregators and people like Qzx900, Yext, people like Moz Local, and what you guys should be doing. Okay. If you care to know about the details, go watch that video. Okay. This is what we do. We order from WLmarketing.com, and we've done so since before we even got into lead gen, when we were just doing maps, when it was called Google Places for local businesses as a service, right? So we order 300 local business listing submissions. It costs $120. Okay. And this is the cheapest solution that I've ever seen. And this works like gangbusters for us. All the case studies, all the results, all the testimonials, guys, that I've shown you of stuff ranking in Google Maps, that's from WL Marketing building the citations, right? So basically under here, under online identity services, you're going to want to go to local business listing. And then under here, it's this fourth package right here, 300 local business listing submissions. Okay, it takes them 10 days to complete. Okay. So if you click add to cart, you'll see that this is the information that you guys are going to need to give them in order for them to do their job. Okay. So Ganesh says, why 300 citations? Can we go with a local or with a lesser number? No. Buy this one. Why? Because you're not going to have to worry about going back and ordering citations again. Right? Do it right the first time. Okay? Why not do it right? You want to go skimpy, just get to number 3, or you want to be number 1, right? Or you want to have competitors come up behind you because they ordered more citations than you? Okay? So put in your start date, you put in your URL. Okay, you put in some links to images and videos for enhanced orders. Okay, for these local business listings, this package that I recommend, they won't add the images for you. Once you guys are making money and you're doing your thing, you got sites making a couple grand a month, you can go back and you can get WL Marketing to go add in images and make them all fancy for you. I don't really give a shit what it looks like. All that I care about with the citations is that I rank in Google Maps. That's the whole point. Okay, then we're going to put in the business owner's name, the business name, the year the company was founded, the street address, the country, the business description, the phone number, the email, the business hours, payment methods, categories, keywords, and any specific instructions. I don't put anything for specific instructions. How many of you guys don't know what you guys should put for category or for keywords? Give me one if you don't know. Okay, let's talk about how you figure it out. You put your Google Plus categories, right? So you go to Google Plus and you see the categories that they have. You can go to Yelp and you can look at their categories. Go find your competition and see what categories they have. Okay, it's really, really simple. Don't get stuck here. Okay, so this should take you guys all of about 2 minutes for you guys to type up. Okay, you don't know what you want to put for a business description? Go look at some descriptions on Yelp or Google My Business, all right? Just write it. It doesn't really matter. Okay? Couple sentences. Cool? So guys, the age, you guys can be real. You just set up the leads gen site yesterday. I would probably put 2015, right? I'm not going to lie. I might leave out the month, right? The business owner's name. For these guys, you guys can put a pen name, or you guys can put your name. Understand, if you guys put your name on some of the local directories, it will show your name. So a lot of times what I will do, guys, is I will use Joe for the first name of the pen name, and then I'll change up the last name. Okay. Or in the past, we did a round of a couple lead gen sites that were all in the same niche, and I used Bob for the first name for all of them and a unique last name as a pen name, right? So I knew that if somebody was calling for Bob so-and-so, it was from one of the local directories. I didn't need to answer it, right? Cool. Yeah, let me go ahead and put in Joe Payton, my business partner, Joseph Pate's info. So if you guys want to spam somebody to death, put in their phone number here and their name. They'll get a million calls. All right, cool. So guys, that's it for that. So after we order the citations, the second to last step is we are going to order SynWire money site profiles. So we're going to order these from Fiverr, and the budget for these are 20 to 30 bucks. The reason that I call this specifically money site profiles is I want these to be nice. Okay, so we put in a little bit extra work on these. We have two different types of SynWire accounts that we use. We have branded accounts that are really nice that we call money site profiles. And then we have what we call like minion accounts. And these are just bulk kind of junky throwaway accounts. If they get deleted tomorrow by one of the accounts, like Tumblr says, yeah, this looks a little trashy, or it's too promotional, I don't really give a shit, right? I don't want my money sites disappearing though, right? So I put a little bit extra work into these. Okay, so the budget for this should be 20 to 30 bucks. Okay, guys, what we just went through today is 95% of your cost in a lead gen site. So we had a lot of people ask Joe, how much is it going to cost for me to build out a lead gen site? Okay, the answer is anywhere from 250 to 300 bucks unless you do a lot of stuff yourself. Okay, and that's everything from hosting to virtual office to your domains to the private Whois, SynWire profiles, your Google My Business, and your local citations. Okay, we left a little bit of wiggle room in there in terms of budget for some other things that we'll talk about later. But guys, this is the majority of the costs. Okay? So when setting up our money profiles, we like to look at Fiverr gigs specifically that do a couple of additional things. Like I said, we want them to be nice. We don't want them to get deleted. We want them to be around for a long time. We'll add in a profile picture. We'll add in the address, right, and the citation, the phone number. We'll add in the website link, the description, and then we also make sure that they connect all of the accounts inside of SynWire for us. Okay. So one big tip I see that many people don't do is once you guys go order a batch of SynWire accounts and you get them put into your account, whether you put them in or you pay the person to put them in or they include it in their gig, is do some test submissions right away. So if you get a Fiverr gig that comes back, it says, hey, your accounts are all done. I just added them in for Orlando restoration experts. Right then and there, go log into your SynWire account and go do posts on all the different post types. Okay, why? Because a lot of times these vendors are doing a shoddy job. We've checked people's accounts because they were mad at us because they just ordered a Fiverr account. We go in and we try to post. Half of the postings fail. They didn't give the correct logins. They didn't finish setting up the accounts, right? So do yourselves a favor, and once you're done having your Fiverr gig or whoever, your outsourcer, set these up, test it, and make sure that it works, all right? Any aha moment there with that last point? Come on, I know we got lots of people here that haven't done that. They've ordered a bunch of accounts, didn't touch it for a week, then they went in and posted, and they're like, what the heck? Why isn't this posting? Right? So if you find out the ones that don't post, like, hey, these 5 networks out of 30 don't post, hey, can you fix these? They'll fix them. Right? But if you wait a month and go back to them, they're going to be like, yeah, have a great day. And that's with any service, no matter if you're using Fiverr or anything else, just double check the work, right? It'll take you 5 minutes to go do a submission through SynWire, all right? So then last but not least, step number 6 is now that we've done all this work, we want to set up auto backups for our lead gen site. Okay, so with Launchpad and WP Backup Plus, we can do automatic backups. weekly, monthly, whatever, on whatever kind of schedule that you guys want, right? So you need to pick one storage provider and configure it, right? So either Amazon S3, Google Drive, or Dropbox. Now, our team likes Google Drive. We see the least issues with Google Drive, and so we ultimately use Google Drive, and we suggest that our customers do too. So you're going to add that inside of Launchpad, and then you're going to add that to each of your lead gen sites as well. So each of them are getting backed up. So if something, God forbid, does happen, you get hacked, okay, your host goes down, you don't pay your bill, your host goes down, your website's gone, you have a backup. Okay? All right, folks, that is step number 6. So I'll be sending you guys out a replay. I got to go. I didn't know that this was going to be this long. Man, 2 hours and 20 minutes. You guys are all troopers. We still got almost 200 people on the call. If you guys would, leave me some feedback on what you guys thought about the call. I'll get you guys out a replay first thing in the morning. Make sure we link up to checklist number 2. If you guys have any issues, you're getting hung up on something, make sure to submit a support ticket or book a consult with Ryan. And guys, just again, no scarcity, no BS, but I promise you, this is going to go fast, the workshop, right? So there are, where's that screenshot here? There are 776 Launchpad members currently that are active. Okay, they either bought the yearly, they bought the monthly, they're active. Okay, and there's only 40 seats for the workshop. Okay, webone.co/January-workshop. You guys can learn about it. If you have questions, obviously submit a ticket or call us on the phone. There's just not a lot of spots left. I could guess probably by the time we send out the replay email tomorrow, we'll probably be at least sold out if we're not already. So I don't think these tickets are going to last very long. So appreciate you guys. If you guys have any feedback, put it in here in the chat, and I'll be sure to take a look at it. Have an awesome night. Go enjoy yourself. Talk soon. Peace.